You know what's interesting about not enjoying small talk? Most people assume it means you're rude, or antisocial, or you think you're above basic conversation. Psychology tells a completely different story. It says you might actually be rare, because most people can small talk without thinking. Weather, weekend plans, traffic, work. It just flows out of them naturally. You're standing there wondering when the real conversation starts. Do they actually care how I am, or are we just going through the motions? How long before someone says something that actually matters? Why does everything coming out of my mouth feel rehearsed? Quick disclaimer, I'm not diagnosing anyone. This is psychology-based insight about why small talk hits some people harder than others. Not enjoying small talk doesn't mean you dislike people. Many people who can't stand it actually crave connection more than anyone in the room. They just want it to feel like it counts. You're not expecting a therapy session at the grocery store. You just want conversations with a pulse. If you've ever left a gathering thinking, I spoke to 20 people and somehow feel more alone than when I walked in, this one's for you. 5 traits that show up in people who can't stand small talk. Notice which one makes you think, that's me. Let's get into it. Trait 1. Your brain runs on meaning. People who avoid small talk usually have solid social skills. Their brain just refuses to survive on conversational junk food. Small talk has a purpose. It signals, I'm friendly, I'm safe, I'm approachable. For most people, that purpose is enough. For you, it's like standing in the lobby of a building you actually came to enter. The lobby was never the destination. You want to know what someone actually believes, what shaped their thinking, what they carry quietly, what they'd say if the social rules disappeared for 5 minutes. When a conversation stays surface level, your brain starts floating away, not because the person bores you, because the conversation gives you nothing to grab onto. How are you? Creates a split in your head every single time. Part of you wants to say, I've been processing something from last week and I'm not done yet, but you know that answer doesn't belong in this moment. So you're stuck between 2 options. Say something real and make it uncomfortable, or say something polite and feel hollow. Over time, your brain links small talk with loneliness. If we're not actually connecting, why are we talking? Research supports this. People consistently underestimate how much they'd enjoy deeper conversations. They avoid going there because they expect discomfort. But when they actually do it, they feel closer to the other person and enjoy the exchange far more than they predicted. If small talk drains you, the explanation might be straightforward. Your mind runs on meaning. Surface exchanges are the wrong fuel. People call you intense for this. Maybe you're just someone who shows up fully when they show up. So next time a conversation feels empty, don't blame yourself for drifting. Recognize what's actually happening. Your brain is telling you it needs more substance. You don't have to force depth into every interaction, but you can start choosing where you invest your conversational energy more carefully. Not every exchange needs to feed you, but if none of them do, something needs to shift. Pick your rooms wisely. Your brain will thank you for it. Trait 2. Your system detects inauthenticity immediately. Small talk often trades truth for smoothness, smiling through exhaustion, asking questions you already forgot, laughing on cue, saying, "Oh, that's interesting," while feeling absolutely nothing inside. Most people don't even register that they're performing. You register every single second of it. Your nervous system flags it immediately. This exchange isn't genuine. One honest sentence from someone settles you more than an entire evening of polished small talk. When somebody says, "This week honestly wrecked me," you don't cringe, you relax, because a real human just showed up. People assume avoiding small talk means lacking social ability. Often the opposite is true. You can charm a room when you want to. You just won't perform a version of yourself that doesn't exist. Performance has a cost, and you've done the math on whether it's worth paying. You walk away from surface-heavy events thinking, I barely said anything, so why am I this drained? Because you weren't just talking. You were constantly translating yourself into a version that fits a script you never agreed to follow. Studies confirm this. Small talk carries invisible rules. How honest you're permitted to be, when to pivot topics, how long to maintain the act before anything real is allowed. For certain minds, navigating those unspoken rules burns through energy fast. If small talk exhausts you, it's probably not a skills gap. It's a standards gap. You hold authenticity to a higher bar than most. When someone meets that bar, you give them everything in return. Most people learn to prioritize smoothness over honesty. Your wiring flipped that order. Uncomfortable truth over comfortable emptiness. Every time. That's not a flaw. That's integrity wearing an inconvenient outfit. Here's something worth practicing. When you sense someone being genuine, even for a second, match their energy. Most people retreat back to the script the moment things get real because nobody meets them there. Be the person who meets them there. You don't need to pour your heart out. Just hold the honesty they offered, instead of deflecting it with a joke or a topic change. That small act builds more trust in 30 seconds than an hour of polite conversation ever could. Trait 3. Surface exchanges feel like a waste of your limited time. You might not even consider yourself a deep person. You just want conversations that go somewhere. Depth isn't about being dramatic or philosophical every second. It's about meaning what you say, asking what you genuinely want to know, reaching the person underneath all the social packaging. Here's the part nobody talks about. Most people secretly want deeper conversations too. They just won't start them. Fear of being judged, fear of seeming unusual, fear of making things uncomfortable. So everyone stays trapped in the same predictable loop. And you're sitting there thinking, we're both alive, both here, both capable of saying something that matters. Why does this feel like a customer service call? Your brain scans every exchange for substance, a real story, an honest answer, something you can actually respond to with your full attention instead of just nodding through. This is exactly why one-on-one conversations feel like oxygen to you, while group settings feel suffocating. Groups reward quick, light exchanges. Depth requires space and safety that group dynamics rarely provide. If small talk leaves you restless, your brain is doing something specific. It senses the real conversation, hiding underneath the performance, and it's frustrated because social norms keep blocking access to it. Like standing outside a door you know leads somewhere meaningful, except nobody will hand you the key. Your brain is wired for connection that actually lands, not social filler. That wiring is uncommon. You can't control how deep a conversation goes, but you can control where it starts. Most people open with closed questions. How are you? How's work? Busy? These questions have a ceiling. The conversation can't climb higher than the question allows. Open-ended questions remove the ceiling. What's been on your mind this week? What are you figuring out right now? Same effort, completely different result. You won't always get depth back, but you'll stop accidentally trapping yourself in conversations that were never designed to go anywhere meaningful. Trait 4. Your mind demands stimulation, not repetition. Small talk can physically tire you even when you've barely spoken 10 sentences. People misread this constantly. Avoiding small talk doesn't mean you believe you're smarter than the room. It usually means your brain checked out because there was nothing to process. Small talk follows the same pattern every time. How have you been? Good. Busy. Same. Weather's been something? Totally. Your brain hears that sequence and immediately asks, what are we actually doing here? It needs something to chew on, an idea worth examining, a story with layers, a question that opens a door instead of closing one. Without that, your attention quietly exits the building. You're still smiling, still nodding, still physically present. Mentally, gone 5 minutes ago. Here's what most people never piece together. Surface conversation costs you energy. Meaningful conversation generates it. Give you the right person and the right topic, life patterns, human behavior, what actually drives people, purpose, meaning, and you'll talk for 3 hours without checking the time. Socializing doesn't drain you. Empty socializing drains you. The difference between those two things changes everything about how you build your social life. Some people bond through lightness and ease. You bond through depth and discovery, long-form content, books that push your thinking, conversations where you walk away knowing something real about another person. That's your world. If surface exchanges leave you depleted, it's not necessarily anxiety. Your brain is engineered for complexity. Small talk delivers zero complexity. So your mind disengages, not out of judgment, out of starvation. Start paying attention to which conversations leave you energized versus which ones leave you hollow. Not which people, which conversations. Because sometimes the same person can give you both, depending on the day and the topic. Once you start tracking this, a pattern will show up. You'll notice which topics wake your brain up, which questions unlock something in people, which environments let you actually breathe and think clearly. Then build around those patterns instead of forcing yourself into ones that consistently drain you. This isn't being antisocial. This is being strategic about something most people never bother to examine. Trait 5. Clarity matters more to you than smoothness. If you felt like a social outsider most of your life, this trait probably explains a lot of it. Most people use small talk as a shield. It keeps everything controlled, predictable, emotionally neutral. For you, small talk feels less safe than real conversation because it's full of ambiguity, constant guessing. What do they actually mean? What response is expected? How honest am I allowed to be right now? When is it my turn to speak? Am I doing this correctly? If your nervous system relies on clarity to feel settled, that much guessing wears you down fast. You've probably noticed the pattern in yourself. Honesty feels natural. Direct questions feel natural. Real exchanges feel natural. Vague social performance? Exhausting. Because performing feels unstable, like wearing clothes that don't fit your body while pretending they do. Something people who avoid small talk rarely admit out loud. Small talk can leave you feeling lonelier than actual solitude. At least when you're alone, you're not pretending. You're not manufacturing smiles or following a script that doesn't match anything happening inside you. So your mind runs a simple calculation. If genuine connection isn't available, solitude wins. Because solitude is honest. That's not antisocial. That's someone who respects their own energy and refuses to spend it on imitation connection. Your relationships reflect this. Your circle is probably small. The people in it, solid. Not based on daily texting or shallow catch-ups. Built on conversations that actually changed how you see something. One meaningful exchange with you carries more weight than a dozen surface ones with anyone else. Deeper, touching on origin. This preference for clarity often has roots somewhere. Maybe the people around you growing up didn't say what they meant. Maybe you learned to read emotions in a room because words couldn't be trusted. Maybe politeness became a warning sign instead of a comfort. So, your system adapted. It learned to prioritize directness, emotional transparency, clear communication, because clarity became your definition of safety, not a diagnosis, a pattern. And understanding it means you can finally stop fighting yourself over it. You were never meant to become a small talk person. You were meant to build a life around how your mind actually operates. If clarity is what settles your nervous system, give yourself more of it. In your own communication, say what you mean, even when it's simpler than what people expect. I'd rather stay in tonight, instead of making up an excuse. I don't really have an opinion on that, instead of pretending you do. That actually bothered me, instead of swallowing it and smiling. Clarity isn't aggressive. Clarity is clean. The people who respond well to your directness, keep them close. The ones who need you to wrap everything in 3 layers of politeness before they can hear it, you don't have to cut them off. But stop reshaping yourself to make them comfortable. Your clarity is not the problem. It never was. 2 tools that work without forcing you to fake it. Use honest but light responses. Swap good for something with a little more truth in it. Honestly, kind of running on empty this week. I'm all right, a lot of moving pieces right now. Pretty good, just chewing on some thoughts. Still socially smooth, but it carries something real. When you answer honestly, even slightly, you quietly invite the other person to do the same. Most people are tired of the good/good exchange too. They're just waiting for someone to break the pattern first. You become that person, and it shifts the energy of the entire conversation without making anything heavy or uncomfortable. Drop one real question into the exchange. Nothing dramatic, just something with a little more texture. What's been sitting on your mind this week? What are you actually looking forward to right now? What's taking up most of your headspace these days? Some people will give you a flat, not much, and move on. Others will pause. Their expression will shift. They'll say something they weren't planning to say. Something honest. Something with weight. That pause, that shift, that's the moment you've been chasing in every conversation you've ever had. Connection. Not the performance version, the real one. And when it happens, the conversation stops draining you and starts feeding you instead. Surface talk pulls energy out. Real talk puts it back in. Stop sitting through conversations that leave you empty. Start gently steering them somewhere that matters. You don't need to overhaul your personality. You just need to stop apologizing for how your brain works. One last thought on this. What if people find me unusual for asking real questions? Some will. Some people are so deep into the routine that anything outside it feels foreign to them. That's fine. That's their comfort zone and not your responsibility to maintain. The people who matter, the ones wired similarly to you, won't find you unusual at all. They'll feel relief, like someone finally handed them permission to stop performing. Those are your people. You don't need a crowd that understands you. You need a handful who do. If small talk has never felt natural to you, nothing is malfunctioning. You carry a specific combination of traits: a mind that runs on meaning, an internal radar tuned to authenticity, a need for depth that performance can never satisfy, a brain that requires genuine stimulation to stay engaged, a nervous system that settles in clarity and struggles in ambiguity. Most people never develop even one of these fully. You probably carry several without ever being told that's what's happening inside you. You weren't built to enjoy small talk. You were built to understand what your mind actually needs and go find it. You don't dislike conversation. You dislike conversation that goes nowhere. You don't dislike people. You dislike pretending to be someone you're not around them. You don't dislike connection. You dislike the hollow version of it that passes for socializing in most rooms. Once you genuinely understand that distinction, your entire social life starts making sense for the first time. You stop dragging yourself to events that empty you. You start investing in spaces that match your wiring. You find the people who've been searching for someone exactly like you their whole lives. Those conversations you've wanted since you were young, they exist, and they're worth every bit of the search. Which trait landed the hardest for you? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Put it in the comments. If any part of this made something click inside you, subscribe. This is a space where having a deep mind isn't treated as a problem to solve. It's just explained so you can finally make sense of it. You're not too much. You're not too intense. You're not too serious. You're uncommon. And uncommon doesn't need fixing. It needs understanding. Catch you in the next one.